Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Astro Bats Boy, and today we have something fun going on. I'm going to revisit back one of my old concepts. This is Paco Power. So what you're looking at right now is a specific mood board and pitch for a playset. Back when one of the many lives of Paco Power, I had tried to pitch it as a toy, part of a larger franchise of originally a TV show, our cartoon animated show. Now, Paco and his friends originated from a sketchbook from late in high school. Just doodles and sketches I did, which I would later on revisit back in college for a specific project. The schematic you're seeing here is from later on when I worked on the playset concept. Very colorful and fun and opening into his mind. Now jumping back, Paco resurfaced from my sketches onto an animated short that I had done my third or fourth final year in school, and you're gonna see right now the animation itself. It's old, it's rusty. Keep in mind, I'm not an animator. I'm more into design, and at this point I was really learning about animation. Just happy to really take Paco, do his own little spin-off with this new created character, Grimy, who I ended up using for a later project. Not really about this world, but looking back at this, I'm really proud that I was able to at least spark some type of ball rolling with the concept I had for him. Now, as this finishes, you'll see here some sketches, which I even did a pitch for a children's illustration book. And here you'll see some more sketches for an opening sequence for the cartoon show, how I imagined it. In my mind, I was really referencing Beetlejuice the animated series, one of my inspirations growing up, as well as the Sandman comic. Now looking back at these sketches, it just reminds me back in high school, I had pulled away from anime, but towards the end, doodles and sketches, I was referencing it again and it came to this. So let's get on to the actual drawing. I'm using the Crescent render book. It's fairly new to me. I'm still getting a feel for it, testing different types of pens, inks, and markers. So for today, I already went ahead and started a blueprint of drawing Paco and the main core cast. I'm using a light purple Staedtler pencil that doesn't show up in scans, a KUM German sharpener for pencils, the DGtv fine point pen markers. So Paco, how do I start with this? Paco is a young 12-year-old Latin boy with an active imagination, and he basically discovers that he's able to control his dreams past the point of lucid dreaming. He is a fabricator, and not only that, he's able to segue out of his dream world and uncover that there's a larger world that connects to everyone's dreams in the world. Now at first he's not sure if what he's been experiencing is real, but he goes with it, starts to meet other characters, and eventually runs into a schoolmate's dreams who will later become his competition in the race to try to create the wildest dreams, but also unknown to them, who would be destined to become the new Sandman to take over everyone's dreams. Now I remember when I was pitching this back in school, people told me I should definitely look into Little Nemo in Slumberland by Winsor. At that time, I thought nothing much of this, so I really didn't look into referencing other people because I didn't want to get influenced in creating this. I wanted to try to approach this and make it as much as I could from my imagination before I went ahead and referenced. And as I mentioned before, I already had a bit of inspiration from the Sandman comics and shows like Beetlejuice, so I wanted to stay away from specific and concrete ideas like mine before I went ahead and fully compared and took notes from other creators. Now looking back, I'm not sure what to do with this. I just thought it'd be great to revisit, but I might go ahead and actually read the comics. I know there was an animation, I think an anime made to it. It would be fun just to compare and see if there's any resemblances to the ideas here. Now, I must confess I feel old because names of specific characters are going to really be hazy at this point. It's been over 10 years, but this specific character I'm working on, I believe her name is Dolly, and she is our mysterious character that we don't know much of and really connects and becomes really close with Paco. I definitely wanted to set her up to read as like the damsel in distress type of character, but as the series went on, you would learn that she's far from that. She's very powerful and very strong, but just plays a charade to do certain things and to get ahead within this dream world. It's not clear if she's from our human world or another world that connects through the dreams. She doesn't look human, and looking at her now, she's giving me very much Mars Attacks subterfuge vibes, which I see most likely was inspiration. Now here you'll see I have a little flying monkey who is one of Paco's sidekicks named Chupanibre. Name came silly from like an idea I had back in the day from this little toy bear. Thought I'd reuse it for this monkey. This right here with the horns is Mr. Man. Big, bulky, strong brute of a character, but also with a big heart. He is like the defender and protector of the group, and he is actually trying to find out what happened to his family. Within his world, we come to realize that Mr. Man might be in a coma, which is why he's been mainly stuck in the dream world, and why he thinks he actually lives in this world. Up next, we have our zombie prince. He doesn't speak, has stitches in his mouth, so we never ultimately find out what his name is, but within this dream world, he has powers, and he's able to really do some fun things like control other dreamers and other fabricated living characters in the world. Plus, he also has really fun hair, which you'll see later on when I get into the markers. I just love his design because he's so tall and lanky, and as you learn seeing my artwork, I love character builds like that. So I went ahead and started just to finalize and erase gum eraser, and I'm using this fun little car that picks up the fun eraser bits left on the paper. It's just fun to run around and pick it up. So now we're going to get started with some markers. I'm actually going to start with some newer additions that I've been playing around with from Winsor & Newton, Promarkers. They're really fun to work with, and I've really been liking to use them specifically with the Crescent book right here. I only have the primary sets and the basic skin color tones. I'm still debating if I should get more. I have already so many other tons of markers, but I am loving these. I'm just going to keep playing with them to see what type of feel I get with them. If I end up using them more, I'll go ahead and buy more and implement them. I've really been liking the brush tip sides. It's just so nice to get in there, and it really disperses the ink quite nicely. I use the chisel a bit. Chisel, honestly, I'll use more for doodles, for sketching and outlining, or filling in. But I'm more of a brush tip person, and it's been really fun to work with. So back to Paco. As you can see, Paco has his school uniform on, and as you can see, he's wearing shorts. So he goes to school, in my mind, probably somewhere in New Mexico or Cali. But also had to give him a bit of like the Converse looking shoes. Overall, the aesthetic for this has a very much of an 80s feel to it. And as I'm always mentioning, nostalgia is everything to me. I'm a product of the 80s, so I wanted to really have that feel to it. From their clothing and their hairstyles, even to like the animation, I wanted to feel a little bit like it could come from that time and era. Paco's a very brave boy. He's not afraid to go ahead and try new things and be adventurous and courageous. One thing I always thought for this series, whether in the books, the comics, or in the animated movie, whatever came of it, we would never really get to see Paco in the real world. Everything would always take place within his dreams. You're already in, or set in, and living his dream. I feel basing him off a little bit of me. I was a lucid dreamer. I really don't remember my dreams anymore, but I had the ability back then to control and do anything with them. And I just remember being so much more confident and fearless within them. If I had a bad thing going on in my mind, it was going into a nightmare, I would change it. So I wanted really to channel the best of my dreaming experiences through Paco and show that, you know, you can succeed at anything you put your mind to. Now looking back at this, I'm kind of thinking that I wish I had put more development into their backstories like I may have done with all my other creations and stories, but who knows, maybe I'll actually go into depth and start really writing and giving him more of a story within, like what's his family like, his actual friends, outside in the real world, the day world, the living world. His motivation in terms of this world is that he just wants to learn and experience and get as much as he can from this and just keep growing and evolving. He sees this world almost like a video game that he wants to like reach and accomplish. I know I set forth within this world that I wanted it to be colorful, very like Dali scenario inspired, with deserts melting into, let's say, graveyards or mountains. I wanted the world to be very juxtaposed and lucid and surreal above all, because it is a figment. I do know I gave him powers of the ability to fly for short distances, so he's able to like cover landscape and go ahead and see what's going on within these spaces. Eventually he starts to also go ahead and change his surroundings and is able to conjure up different like objects onto his hands. I also thought of it like if this was a book, a comic book, a show, he would level up going on, so he's able to start off small and really build upon his powers to really start manipulating and changing his surroundings and the people around him as well. He is a fabricator. That's what I decided to have called him. He's a fabricator, a creator within the dream world. One other thing I do want to mention, it's not detailed yet, but if you look in his eye, he's got the right side big eyelashes. That was a nod to Clockwork Orange, which at the time was something I was really into. It's a very messed up story and great commentary to our world now. So now I've moved on to this character. She goes by Arissa. Now Arissa is a badass bitch. She's a cool character and really fun to have created, and I'm glad I put her in this world. She's a nod to an old high school friend who was really creative and really talented artist as well. We had even spent like a good year creating our own collaborative comic book, which who knows, maybe one day I'll do a look back at that, but it was definitely 50-50 creation we did. And so Arissa is a nod to her. For example, the hair. My friend never had blue hair, but it was a color of hair she loved in character, so I figured to give her that, as well as a background from her roots. She is West Indies and packs a punch. She is a firecracker type of character, very take control and take charge. When we are introduced to Arissa, we find she's already been lucid dreaming for a few years, and she's already been able to do things that Paco can't. Like, she's able to summon up and create like this lasso that is attached to like a heart and takes different shapes, like a bow and arrow or a sword, but it's her weapon that she uses to actually fight and attack other bad dreamers or foes that are attacking them in their adventures. She's the opposite of Paco, where Paco's very extroverted and very trusting of people. She is not. She's very intelligent. She's more not calculated but observant and able to assess situations and figure the best outcome. I really wanted her to be a role model for people watching. At that time, I definitely was already in recognition how women are treated and recognize that they're not respected. So within this world, I really wanted to have really strong characters that represented women, and Arissa definitely does that. She's not afraid to shut people down, but also she takes accountability about herself and wants the best for the situations and whatever it is that's thrown at them. But also she becomes his rival. Ultimately, as the series goes on, you realize that one of them is going to become the next Sandman and the predecessor for taking over the Dreamland. So it becomes of a competition to see who is the one that gets picked. Will it be Arissa, who is technically like the straight A student of this dream world, being able to really control it and has been doing her work and studying? Or will it be Paco, who came out of nowhere and is very much underestimated? Back here to Dolly, filling in her skin tones. So as you can see, she has an unworldly type of look about her, but also a vintage, which is why to me, when creating her, she's more than what she appears. To me, she was doing her best in the dream world to show that she's human, and her references to humanity are more classic films, which is the look. And right here I'm painting a red rose, one of the items that she carries with her. Looking at her now, it's clear to me that I definitely was inspired by character designs of Invader Zim, the whole alien passing off as a human, but within a dream world, if you can get your head around that. I do know at the time when creating her, I was definitely inspired as well by the Never-Ending Story and the princess from that. Very powerful, but very meek, always in need of help. Or maybe it's part of a larger plan, an experiment she has going on to learn about these people in the dream world. Chupanire, our least developed character from the series. He's definitely a mix. He's monkey mixed with feline, giving us a bit of that like mini lion look that can fly. He befriends Paco early on into this whole world, and later on we discover that Paco actually created him. He's from his imagination. He's a nod to the whole chibi anime world, and specifically to characters like Digimon. And it even makes me think now, it would be fun to see this character in an evolved state, something bigger than itself. I'm not mad at that. That would actually be kind of fun to approach. Our sweet prince, zombie prince without a name, because he cannot talk. So he's definitely inspired by Billy the zombie from Hocus Pocus and Salad Fingers. If anyone knows what that is, extra points to you. He's just always been a character that was so fun to draw, and he's actually one of the first characters I started doing back in high school, just as an idea that I kept repeating, I think even before Paco. It would be amazing to create him as a sculpture or as a plush toy. I don't have the patience for it, but he's such a fun character to do that. It would be great to see. Maybe a sticker. His aesthetic is definitely visual kei. Growing up, I was really into Japanese heavy metal glam bands, so I had to do a little bit of a nod to that. I did plan for his backstory to be revealed later on through the series, where we would find out he is a zombie. Essentially, he is living in limbo in the afterlife in the dream world. So with that said, you can definitely start to see that this dream world contains all types of brains dreaming in it, not just human ones. So we have aliens, we have zombies, and we have here Mr. Man, which is a demon. You can see I'm coloring him right now with classic Prismacolor markers, OGs. Those markers were actually used on the treatment you saw earlier for the Paco playset. What more can I say about Mr. Man? He's big, he's lovable, he has fun firepower effects, but like I said, he's very much a silly character, and he gets written off as that, but he has more depth, which we later would find out as he starts to pick up the pieces and remember and uncover his past and why he's there. I think it's bittersweet that we do find out that he is a demon, in fact, coming from the underworld, but he's stuck in this dreamland through a coma. And what that would do to a person or a character or a demon, perhaps they would go insane in this dream world, and maybe that's what I had planned for him. Possible pal turned foe. And bam! I jumped ahead and I'm going straight to just showing the actual close to final rendering of this whole book. Peeking past Paco's leg, you can see Fido, his pit bull dog from the real world that he's able to later on merge and bring onto the world with the rest of the gang. I wanted to pretty much end this with just a few minutes of just watching me finish up and paint. Not ASMR, but something kind of chill and calm. I know I like to watch these type of videos, but I did wanted to give you my review of the Crescent sketch marker book and overall my feelings on it. I do want to say a big thank you and a shout out to Fran Menez, who I follow and is also a New York Latin based illustrator. She brought me onto this book, and that's why I thought I'd give it a try. I really love her illustrations and her line work, and the fact that she's made this type of sketchbook into her ugly book, meaning no judgment on the artwork. Now, the pros about this book that I really enjoyed, acid-free, which is great for archiving it, so it will hold for years to come. It's also good with mixed media, which I have not fully tested, but that's good to hear. 180 GSM, which is a good weight to hold onto things. Smooth pages, very light overall, and it holds a testament to the no bleed through, which is great. It's not really what I look for, but I definitely do like outlining in this book. It goes on pretty smooth and it takes markers really well. Now the con, I would say, is in the amount of layers it can take. I've learned that I really can't go over with different colors or the same color after I've laid down one initial layer. Before this, I was pretty much testing it and I was using my markers, specifically Prismacolor markers, as a base, and I'd go over with other line work or color pencil. I think that would be best for this type of route, because I did find as I was doing this that the alcohol markers were being reactivated, things were moving around and leaving fragments of the marker prints, which I didn't like. I also had purchased this book because it's a lay flat soft cover, and I was hoping that it would be able to ultimately lay flatter, but that's neither here or there. If I want something true, I would just do it on a flat piece of paper for a final look. This is a sketchbook, so it's a little thing, but overall, I really do enjoy the book, and I look forward to finishing it up and making lots of outline work. And as for the Winsor Newton Promarkers brush tips, do enjoy them. This was fun, but I realized that for some reason they were reactivating the Staedtler markers, which are waterproof, but I guess because it's alcohol, I'm not sure, something is happening. I realized that I was getting bleed through, which I was not happy about, so I'm going to test it with other types of paper to see what happens. Aside from that, this has been a really fun challenge for myself to do. I hope to make a few other ones, revisiting past work and reformulating it for me now. It's definitely taught me a few things. I'm such a, what they call, I guess, like a lazy artist. I come from the method of growing up where I would draw and paint lying on the ground, hovering over my paintings or my drawings. So even to this day, I need that type of feel. And I was finding myself really challenged with having to not hover on top of my drawings in order to allow the camera to view things. So it's been a learning process, because I'm realizing doing that, I can't really get in to doing details like I normally do, and it feels as if I'm skewed, which causes me to not have strong line work, which is what I like to do. So moving forward, I may just have to do cuts and draw the lines where I'm comfortable at, and then let you all just see the final outcome. I think it would be best, rather than challenging myself to build that muscle memory. I'm older, so muscle memory is going to take more practice for me to get better at things. I'd rather show you what I'm capable of and be at a comfortable spot, because after all, this is an outlet for me, so I wanted to make it a fun thing for me to do and a good way to track my current work. So with that said, I hope you like what I've been showing you. I'm excited to make more content, but I'm going to stop talking and just let you watch the rest of me finishing this up. Enjoy. Please subscribe, like, comment, go follow me over on Twitter, Instagram, where I'm a little more active. Hope to see you all soon. Thanks.